Hey guys, I'm Jenna and welcome to my reaction video of my first ever watch of season 2 of One Tree Hill. Yes, that is right, my first ever viewing. I never watched One Tree Hill when it was on in the 2000s, so I'm experiencing the series for the first time now, and I'm only on season 2, but it has been a wild ride. So let's dive in. My overall reactions, this season started off super strong. There was a lot of really good drama right in the beginning, but it really dragged for me in the middle and then ended with like every cliffhanger you could have imagined. So it wasn't paced super well in my opinion, but there were so many different plot lines and different dramatic things happening, and every character kind of had their own journey this season. So for me, watching for the first time, when I watched the first season, I was really focused on the fashion and the music and just the general nostalgia of watching the series that started in 2004. But this season, it was a lot more about bringing the drama and really just getting to know the characters more, and like I said, giving them more of their own storylines. So in case it's been, 15 plus years since you have watched season 2 of One Tree Hill, here's a little overview of the high points of the season. Number 1, Nathan and Haley, their newlywed bliss quickly turns into constant drama when Haley goes on tour, as one does in high school, with the evil Chris. There's the whole Keith and Jules debacle with the wedding that does not happen. Felix and Anna move to town and cause all sorts of drama amongst the group. Brooke's parents lose all of their money, which not only challenges Brooke's whole identity as the rich, popular girl, but forces her to get a job, and hilarity ensues, naturally. Jake comes back to town after running away from Nikki with Jenny at the end of season 1. Lucas moves in with Dan as a result of and kind of as part of one of Dan's many evil schemes. Lucas and Karen's new boyfriend also attempt to uncover some sort of illegal activity they think is going down at Dan's dealership because of something that Lucas discovered while he was snooping around in Dan's office. Speaking of that, Karen goes back to college, which I'm not even completely certain I remember what she's going to school for, but she quickly, and I mean quickly, starts dating her professor, which is definitely grounds for dismissal, and yes, he obviously does get fired. And Deb is addicted to pills. That's just the high points. CW shows really love to pack in the drama. There's like 23 episodes in every single season. It's like boom, 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 one thing after another. And really, that's what makes it fun. That's also what makes it nostalgic, especially for me, because that's how TV really was, at least the kind of dramatic series that I remember watching back in the 2000s, things like Dawson's Creek and The OC. It was just like completely crazy, over the top, almost soap opera drama, but with teenagers. So even though there was all of this drama and there were so many different plot lines happening, I feel like, with all of the different characters, I feel like it was much less about the group this season and more about each individual character's storylines. Even though there was all that happening, I still felt like it was really slow during the middle. I'm not sure exactly where it lost me, but it started to feel like a lot of the drama was just kind of looping. So it was, Haley and Nathan fighting, and will Haley come back? Will she not? Jake being afraid that Nikki will come take Jenny. What will happen? Will he have to leave again? And it was just kind of the same thing over and over and over. Not to mention there was that weird episode where Nathan got into a car accident while driving, I think, a race car with like his weird uncle. Honestly, I zoned out through most of that. And then they explore this alternate universe where Deb didn't marry Dan and instead Dan married Karen. That's kind of the stretch of the season where it lost me towards the middle end of the season. So despite that whole thing and that weird episode aside, there were some really good stories that happened with the characters this season. So here are some of my favorite character plots, because again, CW shows not going for reality, okay? And these are some of the plots that I started thinking to myself, can you imagine if even just one of these things happened in a small town? Just one, let alone all of these different things happening within the same group of people. So let's explore some of the drama that our friends at Tree Hill High experienced during season 2. Okay, number 1. Haley, who apparently is a singer, gets discovered while singing some acoustic love song at a nightclub, as if that's the type of music you would sing in that type of venue anyway. And not only is she performing at this club as a high school student, but she goes on tour as a singer. By the way, Peyton, who is also a high school student, manages said club with Karen or Deb or both of them. I'm honestly not sure. Peyton also apparently lives alone because her dad is working on a boat or something. I don't know. There's no parents in this show besides Karen, Deb, and Dan. That's what I've concluded. No one has parents. At least if they do, they're never around. But Peyton lives alone, and not only does she live alone, but Jake and his baby live with Peyton, and they all sleep together in Peyton's bed every night. So essentially, Jake and Peyton are a married couple with a child, but they're 17. And thank goodness for Whitey, the basketball coach slash life guru slash babysitter who watches Jenny in his athletic director office in the high school so Jake can, go to class and stuff. And then, of course, one of the main plots in this season, towards the beginning, is Jules. So Dan finds Jules and pays her to ruin his brother Keith's life. And not only to ruin his life, so dramatic, but to do it by making Keith fall in love with her and then leaving him. Very evil of Dan. And let's not forget that the reason that Dan is doing this is to get back at Keith for sleeping with Deb, his wife. So messy. Tree Hill, so messy. And speaking of banging in-laws, Nathan realizes that Haley's sister, who is, by the way, living with them temporarily, looks really familiar, and then he realizes that's because he slept with her. So Nathan, who is in high school, is living temporarily with his sister-in-law who he slept with. You guys, imagine if this happened in real life. Like, just imagine it. And then that brings me to the fact that Nathan and Haley are married, and aside from Deb, nobody in the entire town of Tree Hill seems to be bothered by this at all. In fact, Haley's parents' reaction to Haley getting married as a teenager is to sell their house and leave town so that their daughter, the teen bride, can go live out her newlywed bliss with her 17-year-old husband. Meanwhile, back at Tree Hill High School, the new kid is spray painting homophobic slurs on Peyton's locker in order to take the attention away from his own sister, who, unbeknownst to him at this time, is actually bisexual. The drama. Also, side note, I think we can all agree that Felix was terrible, but I actually really, really liked Anna as a character this season. I thought she, as a character in herself, was a really fun addition to the group, and I also liked how she kind of brought out different sides of the characters through her friendships with them, especially Lucas. They had such a cute friendship. Felix and Anna ultimately move away at the end of the season, which had to happen because Felix was the worst. But Anna was good. I would have liked to see her stick around. Anyway, imagine if just one of those scandals went down in a small town within one small group of people. The entire town would be absolutely abuzz. I'm from a small town, and if any one of these things, I mean, just the fact that popular rich girl Brooke Davis is working at the local crab shack in town would have been enough to set the rumor mill on fire, let alone all of these crazy scandals. But again, this is what we love about CW shows. This is what I love about it. And this also what brings a lot of the nostalgia, because this was all the TV at that time. We ate this stuff up, and I'm still really, really enjoying watching this show. So even though season 2 wasn't my favorite all the way through, it still gave us some truly, truly priceless moments, and that's really what I'm watching for. I'm watching for those moments that I'm rolling laughing and remembering that not only were we watching these ridiculous shows as teenagers, or I was, but I was taking them seriously. I really could not wait to see what was going to happen next on these shows. So I'm going to share with you my top moments from season 2 of One Tree Hill. Number 1, when Brooke organizes her fellow crabs against their evil boss at her crab shack restaurant. Amazing, priceless, go Brooke, Brooke Davis for president. Number 2 is when Jake comes back to town and tells Peyton that he is not leaving again and he's actually gonna stay in Tree Hill, and they go to get Jenny together. I just love Peyton and Jake together. They're so cute, and honestly, also, Jake had quite a glow up, I feel like, between season 1 and season 2. Number 3 is when Mouth and Brooke are hanging out and he leaves Brooke to go hang out with Erica and they have a little date. I love Mouth, and this was such a great moment for him because not only did he have this great date with Erica and they start this little relationship, but it also shows a moment of growth for his character where he's moving away from his obsession with Brooke that he knows will never go anywhere. Everybody needs a Mouth in their life. Honorable mention also for when he impromptu gives the speech on behalf of Brooke when she's running for class president, and it was like the best speech anyone has ever delivered. Number 4, this is one of my absolute favorite moments of the season. Nathan's drunken outburst outside of the church at Keith's wedding. I was dying. Honestly, Nathan was such a mess through most of the season, but especially at the beginning after Haley leaves to go on tour with Chris. The meltdown outside the church was so over the top dramatic. It was giving me all the OC vibes. It was second only to when he gets caught drinking in class and then basically calls the teacher a slut. Another Nathan moment, the end of the episode when he dramatically takes Haley's keyboard and throws it at the wall and their wedding photo board crashes to the floor and there's a voiceover playing of Brooke's class president campaign speech. CW, I mean, bravo. Chef's kiss, perfection. And this brings me to my absolute favorite moment of the entire season, when Deb is passed out in the yard wearing a satiny purple cami tank top that I would have worn to a party at 17 years old. And not only is she passed out in the yard wearing a tank top that a teenager would wear, Dan turns the sprinklers on her. I was legitimately laughing so hard. It was so funny. The entire progression of Deb from total mom to like messy teenager with like a bad spray tan has been very interesting to watch throughout season 1 and season 2, and I have heard that it just gets crazier from here, so I can't wait to see how she evolves. But that was a priceless moment. Thank you, One Tree Hill, for giving us that moment. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on One Tree Hill season 2. Again, not my favorite season, but still really good. They really hit us with some crazy cliffhangers at the end of the season. I haven't started season 3 yet, but I'm excited to see how all of those things play out. And a lot of people have told me that season 3 is actually their favorite season. So I'm really excited to start watching. Check back because I obviously will share my thoughts once I finish the season. I will see you then. In the meantime, thank you for watching.